right? So today promises to be a very exciting and knowledge-packed session. So please just stay tuned with us to the end. But before we dive into it, I'll just tell you a bit about Cybervergent for those of us that do not know what we do. Cybervergent is a technology solutions company that specializes in providing organizations and businesses with cybersecurity solutions. So we offer a myriad of services from security engineering to offensive security testing, and we also have a 247 security operations center. All these things are just put in place to help ensure that organizations are battle ready. So a not so fun fact for you this morning. Did you know that according to IBM's Cost of a Global Breach 2023 report, that the global average cost of the data breach reached a staggering $4.45 million. Yeah, said it was not fun. So that is just testament to the fact that hackers are not playing and they're consistent, and it makes us need that it just gives us the need to know hackers' motivations, because they're constantly innovating and improving on their own tactics and techniques. So we need to be able to stay ahead of the curve. I don't know if I introduce myself. So my name is Onyinyechi Izunwa, a member of the product management team here at Cybervergent. And today we will delve into how we can win the game of threats with the help of our fantastic team of experts that would share more light into how we can do this. So first we have Jefferson Georgeville, who will give us insights into the attacker's playbook. Next, we have Abimbola Adewusi, who would share with us how to build strong security defenses. And finally, we have Chinemirim Okafor, who would share with us the importance of continuous vigilance in securing for our security posture in the long run, right? So Jefferson Georgeville is an offensive security engineer that has experience in identifying and mitigating security vulnerabilities across different organizational structures. So he has expertise in red teaming, purple teaming, digital forensics, as well as penetration testing and vulnerability assessments. So who better than Jefferson than to give us insights into the attacker's mind? So Jefferson, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you very much, Onyi, for that introduction. Good morning to you, and good morning to everyone on the call. All right, just give me a moment. Let me just share my screen so I can walk you through the attacker's playbook. Basically, I'm just going to try to help you understand the attacker and give you like a dive into the attacker's mindset so that you can understand how an attacker operates, why they do what they do, and everything that's related to what an attacker does. Just give me a moment. All right. I believe you all can see my screen at this point. Okay. All right, so just like I said, basically my role here and my primary job here is just to help you understand the attacker. And by attacker, you might be wondering, what am I talking about? For those who might not be too familiar with the word, basically a simpler term would be hacker. The hackers, people here, you have hackers, cyber criminals, attackers, we're all talking about the same thing. So I'm going to start off by, and I might be using these words interchangeably, so just try to follow along. So I'm going to start off by telling you who is a hacker. and I just mentioned that I'll be using them interchangeably. So basically, a hacker is someone who has a specialized skill, right? Who has skill that allows them to break into computers, manipulate computers without express permission from the owner of that computer. And basically, they have some technical skills that they use to manipulate systems, gain access to systems, edit files on systems, or basically control the system how they want without being given express permission. So someone who is able to connect to my PC from wherever he is, whatever remote place he is from the world, and then to whatever I want on my PC, that person would be said to possess skills that allows him to gain access to my computer and do whatever it is he wants. So basically, that's who a hacker is. And some of us, due to pop culture, movies, and some media we consume, we have various ideologies of the word hacker. But in a simple term, this is who a hacker is. And I'm also going to walk you through the hacker's methodology, how they do what they do. When an hacker wants to carry out his activity, what are the steps that are involved from the first step to the last step? So basically, I just have 5 M's. I've broken this down into 5 simple steps just to walk you through it. First off is the information gathering and planning. Next, he has to find the weakness, choosing an attack method that he wants to use. Next, after gaining access to your system, he has to establish a foothold. Then he would then go ahead and actually carrying out the activity, their objective that made him hack your system or hack the organization or the individual aspect. So I'm just going to walk you through each of these individually. First off, for a hacker who wants to hack into someone's system, he needs to first of all know his victim. If his victim an individual, is his victim an organization, he needs to gather as much information as he needs for this hack he wants to plan. He needs to know the name of the organization, where they are located, what information he needs from them, just their staffs. If it's an individual he's targeting, he needs to know what websites they frequent, what social media handles they use, who are their friends, and all of this information are what he's going to use to plan his attack. Right. So the information gathering phase of an hacker's methodology is probably the most important phase. And after he has gotten all of this information and he has planned, like draft out a plan on how he's going to carry out his attack, the next thing he needs to do is to find the weakness. And I'm just going to be giving examples for this. So if the attacker is trying to target an individual, he needs to know, okay, does this individual have any obvious weakness that I could use? Does this person share information, sensitive information on social media? Or does this person reuse passwords? Maybe the hacker knows the person's email address. He might go online and try to see if this person's detail has been leaked in a previous breach before. Just tries to find any weakness. If it's an organization, he probably would scan their web-facing assets, and by web-facing assets, he might probably scan their web application and see if there is any weakness that he could possibly use to gain access to the system. So once the hacker has found a weakness, be it an individual or an organization, the next thing he would need to do is to choose his attack method. He chooses attack method, and this attack method will be dependent on the kind of weakness he has found. Okay, if it's a software issue on the external facing asset of the organization, he will probably want to exploit software vulnerabilities. If it has to do with human beings, he would be looking at choosing an attack method that has to do with social engineering, maybe manipulating the individuals, sending a friend request on Facebook or following them on Twitter, engaging them, befriending them, gaining their trust. Basically, he's going to choose his attack method and then he's going to use that. So once he has used that attack method and he has gained access to the system, the next thing is that he's basically going to gain access to the system. So if it's a software issue on the external facing asset, gains access to the system. If it's an individual, he gains the person's trust, and the person probably divulges some information to him. So basically, he's establishing a foothold. He has gained access to the system. He has control over the system, some level of control or full control over the system or the user he's trying to hack. Once he has done that, the next thing would be to basically carry out his objective. If his aim is to take money from the user, probably carry out financial fraud, is going to go ahead with that. if its aim is to exfiltrate data from an organization, and by exfiltrate, I mean taking data out of an organization from system, taking them out, exporting them. That would be like a simple term of defining this. Takes that data out. Whatever his aim is going to carry out that objective. And basically, hackers and attackers, one thing they like to also do is to cover their tracks. They don't want to make it easy for law enforcement or for you, the individual, to even know that something like that has happened. So what they do, if whatever malware or whatever file they've dropped on your system, they'll probably clear that out. Though most times what they do, if it has to do with financial fraud, they might use multiple proxy accounts before getting the money to their actual account so that it is hard to track. Basically, they try to cover their track so that you cannot be able to identify that this particular person is the one that carried out this attack on your system or on you. So this is just a breakdown of the hackers methodology, what they do and how they go about what they do. And for the various attack types, I know I mentioned social engineering, I mentioned software vulnerabilities, I mentioned malware attacks, but let's actually talk about this. These are the various attack types, or would I say mediums, by which attackers carry out their objectives, by which they exploit you, by which they take advantage of systems, of individuals. These are the various attack types. We have social engineering being one of them. Some of us might be familiar with the word. We have malware attacks, we have password attacks, we have exploiting software vulnerabilities. We also have network attacks, and we also have physical attacks. And I'm going to be talking on each and every one of these for you to better understand the various attack types. First off, we have social engineering. Social engineering, basically, and in a simple way, is basically an attacker trying to manipulate a victim, a user, an individual. I'm going to use the word victim here, to do something that they normally manipulate them to do something, or trick them into doing something that they normally would not do, carrying out actions that they normally would not carry out, divulging information that they normally would not divulge, sensitive information like their usernames, their passwords, their card details. And some of us might also be familiar with all some of these fake bank calls that you get. They say, okay, hello, my name is, permit me to use your name, John. My name is John from so and so bank. Your ATM card is expiring. For us to renew it or for us to prevent it from expiring, send us your card, the digits or the front of your card and the digit at the back of your card. So basically, they are trying to manipulate you, trick you into divulging information. That's the case there. Some other case would be where you receive a mail from your bank that you know it's not from your bank, that tells you to install a file or open a PDF. Basically, they're trying to trick you into performing an action in that case. So that's, in simple terms, that's just what social engineering is. Trying to trick an individual or manipulate an individual to performing actions or divulging sensitive information that they normally would not give to you. And we have some other variants of social engineering. First one we have here is phishing. This is simply sending illegitimate mails and messages to users. The example I used of receiving a fake mail from an imposter trying to present himself like your bank or your banking manager, that would be a phishing mail that you're getting. And then we also have another one called spear phishing. So commonly we get phishing mails from these attackers that are just, would I say, just sent without targeting any particular individual. Spear phishing is a type of phishing whereby information about the particular individual is gotten, and the attacker tailors the message or the mail, whatever it is, to that particular individual. So spear phishing targets a particular individual, trying to phish a particular individual. We also have whaling. Whaling comes from the term whale. That's a big fish. And when you hear big fish, you know we're talking about big money. In an organization, we have hackers and attackers. They basically see everybody like fishes, and then those who are the top executive level, they are called the big fishes. The CEOs, the MDs, those are the ones that they can gain the most from if a social engineering attack is successful. So those ones are the big fishes and they are the whales. And that's why this attack is called whaling, because the social engineering is being targeted towards the phishing mails, and the social engineering tactics are being targeted towards those big fishes, the whales in the company. And that's why this social engineering tactic is called whaling. We also have other variants. So aside mail, we also have smishing, which has to do with sending of SMS. Even just this morning, I got my mobile device blocked a spam coming in. Someone who claims to be John served with me at NYC and all of those messages. Right, so that one is via SMS, and that's why it's called smishing. Then we also have another one called phishing. This is you can easily relate this to those guys who call you over phone. The VS stands for voice. They try to use voice messages, calls to try to trick you into carrying out various actions and disclosing information. So these are some of the other tactics involved in social engineering. And I'm just going to also move on and talk about malware attacks. The term malware comes from two words: malicious software. When you kind of like fuse those two words together, you get the term malware. So malware are softwares, malicious softwares that attackers use to carry out actions, their intended actions on your systems, your devices. And by systems, I'm not just limiting it to your PCs, your Windows devices, or your Linux devices. It could be your mobile device, your IoTs, other technology, other systems, anything that does computing or runs an operating system on it. These are softwares that attackers use to carry out various actions or disrupt operations, steal data, steal sensitive information from your systems. And we have various variants of this malware. We have viruses. A virus basically is a malware that replicates, that disrupts your operations, disrupts your data on your system. We have Trojans. Trojans comes from the word Trojan. For those who are familiar, who have watched Troy, you know the Trojan horse that was sent that had as a gift, basically, and it had soldiers in it, which later attacked the system. So Trojans basically are malware that are being attached to legitimate software that look benign and look legitimate, that actually carry out the legitimate action. So an example could be, maybe you go online, you download a calculator. The calculator actually calculates. It gives you figures when you calculate, but also that calculator also has a malicious program into it. It's also stealing data from you or encrypting your files or doing other type of malicious activities that the attacker has intended it to do. The next one we also have here is ransomware. Ransomware is basic. I'm just going to be defining this by their names. Ransomware, your data, your system is being held at ransom. And now attackers do this is that they encrypt your system, they encrypt your files. You no longer have access to your files, you no longer have access to your systems till you have to pay a certain amount of money into a certain account. Typically, they use cryptocurrencies to receive these funds so that it cannot be easily traced back to them. So basically, ransomware encrypts your systems. These are malware that encrypt your systems, and these are the type of attacks that attackers use to encrypt your system. You have to pay money to get back your files, to gain access back to your system. You also have spyware. Other types of malware that fall in this category, we have keyloggers, where attackers basically install a malware on your system that monitors your activities, tells them everything you're doing. They can see the websites you're browsing to. They can see the passwords you're putting on your system. They're observing the applications you have in your system, everything you're doing. They're just basically spying on you. Some government agencies use spyware to spy on their citizens. So these are still malwares, and you can have them on your system without even knowing. Next one, we have hardware. Some of us might have seen this on our mobile devices. You install an application that start bringing ads on your device itself, even when the application is not open. So those hardware, the malware, the attacker is getting revenue for those ads that are popping up on your system or your mobile devices. So it's also a malware because basically it's performing the action that the attacker has intended it to, and you did not actually put it there. Next one, we also have our rootkits. You might also relate to this, whereby if you've ever had an encounter or an experience whereby you as an end user, you're using your system. Next thing you see, your mouse starts moving. Somebody else is controlling your system from wherever you don't know, and you're basically surprised. So what an attacker is using there is rootkit. So these are softwares that attackers use to gain full control over your system and control your system remotely. Cryptojackers, for those who are into the crypto world, attackers are also there too. And some of the things they do, they have software that they use to mine cryptocurrencies on your device. You will just see your system is hot, your GPU is running, your CPU is running. You don't know what's going on. They are mining cryptocurrency with your system, and they get those cryptocurrencies. Those are malwares too. And then the last one I have here is botnets. These are systems, group of systems that attackers are taking control over, and they use these systems, they control this system collectively to carry out various attacks and perform various actions. An example would be using it to perform a DDoS or a denial of service attack on another victim. And then we'll get to talk about those other types of attacks. The next one we have here is password attacks. These are attacks that are targeted towards end users' passwords, trying to use them to gain access to systems. We have brute force attacks where an attacker tries various combination of password. Let's say attacker knows that the password is a 4-digit PIN. He tries 001, 0001, 002, 003. He does that till he gets to 99999. So brute force, it could be letters, it could be numbers, brute force attacks. We also have dictionary attacks, because basically a lot of people who are not who are not aware, use dictionaries words for their password. Somebody might come up and use photosynthesis for their password. So attackers basically run through all the words in the dictionary, trying to guess the end user's password and gain access to their system, their social media accounts, online accounts, and from there they can do whatever they want. Credential stuffing. This is where attackers have gained a list of passwords. They've gained a list of passwords, and then they try those passwords against them. Okay, yeah, they've gained a list of passwords, and then they try those passwords. They try those passwords against a list of systems that they have, against the accounts that they also have. Also have keylogin. Keylogin is where attackers. So I made mention of keylogin. Keylogin is where attackers may probably have installed a malware on your system, where they are using it to monitor the keys that you're typing in your password. Maybe you've gone to a login prompt and you're trying to type in your password. They get your mouse clicks your password you're typing, and they can then use this to log in into your system, into your account. The next one we also have here is the exploiting software vulnerabilities. Software vulnerabilities are weaknesses that exist in software due to the code that has been written. Weaknesses, it could be either being intentional or not, or unintentional. So basically there are weaknesses in softwares. Web servers run softwares. Web servers are softwares. We have softwares like Nginx. We have Apache. Those softwares have vulnerabilities. We have softwares on our systems, Microsoft Word, WhatsApp, even an operating system is a software. So basically exploiting software vulnerabilities. And we have a couple of those. We have buffer overflow, whereby a specific input field has been assigned a specific buffer that it should accept, and then you're able to exceed that, write code into other parts of the system that will be executed. We have SQL injection on a search parameter in a website. They basically use SQL to retrieve information, to retrieve data. Even on a login prompt, in some cases, they use SQL databases to retrieve your login information. SQL injection is where you can type malicious code into an input field that uses an SQL query to get data, and then you can probably manipulate that to get information from there that would otherwise not be disclosed. We also have cross-site scripting. All of these are software vulnerabilities due to the code that has been written. Cross-site scripting allows an attacker to execute malicious code. On our web browsers, when we visit websites, basically what we are consuming is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in its basic format. JavaScript is a scripting language. And so, and most times this cross-site scripting is being used to take, JavaScript is being used to take advantage of this, whereby they can run malicious JavaScript on the website or on the software. We also have remote code execution. where on a software, I'm going to be using web servers in this case. An attacker is able to input something into a field and then have that code being executed on the host, on the system that is running that software. An example would be they could use it to gain remote access to the system, which would allow the system to give a call back to the attacker, and then they can connect to that system and then do whatever it is they want. Zero-day exploits. Some of us might have also heard of this, but in case you've not and you're wondering what zero-day is, zero-day are software vulnerabilities that even the vendors and the public are not aware of, but attackers know this and they use it to carry out their activities. We also have man in the middle attack, which I'll also talk about in the next slide. So network attacks are attacks that aim at disrupting computer network services, right? We have denial of service, whereby you might have tried to access a website and you can see that the website is not reachable. It could either be a technical fault, but attackers can also exploit vulnerabilities on the network so that you're unable to access that particular system. We also have the DDoS, whereby they use botnets to also attack a group of systems together too. We have man in the middle attack, where an attacker sits in between you and the end server you're trying to communicate with. They intercept requests from you as you're typing your password, you're doing whatever action, they're getting that, and then they are forwarding it, and whatever the server is responding back to you, they're also in the middle receiving that, and you might not even be aware that they are there. We have DNS spoofing and ARP spoofing. These are trying to fake DNS records and fake ARP records for you to communicate to the wrong devices, wrong host. And then we also have packet sniffing, where an attacker sits on a network, gathering all traffic that has been going on, inspecting them, going through them for sensitive information, and is able to see whatever it is that has been going on the network. These are various network attacks. And we also have physical attacks. Physical attacks have a physical element to them, right? And not necessarily virtual. So attackers exploit physical vulnerabilities in physical security systems, to gain access to your environment, to networks, to devices. And then we have a couple of them. I'm just going to talk on a few of them. Tailgating, this is where someone, we have these man traps in some environments, or where you have to use your key card to gain access to an environment. So you use your key card, you don't know that someone is following you, and the person, as you enter, the person enters too without your notice. The person has tailgated you. Dumpster diving, some people throw sensitive documents in their garbage. Attackers sometimes go as low as going through your garbage and getting those information. That's also possible, and it's something they also do. Eavesdropping, that we should be familiar with that. Listening on your sensitive conversations. Shoulder surfing, as you're typing your password, somebody is standing behind you, looking over your shoulder, seeing what you're doing. And then we also have USB dropping, where attackers put malicious software in USB, drop them around your house, around your offices. You come in the morning, you see a USB, you're excited, you've gotten a free USB, you put that into your system, and then the attacker compromises your system with that. So these all have a physical element to them, and that's why they're called physical attacks. And based on the kind of weakness an attacker has seen in your environment, that's what will determine which of these attack is going to use to try to attack you. And I'm just going to round up, I'm just going to give a couple of real world examples. We have JAMB in 2021, and there's a reported case of JAMB as listed on the SunTrust website, whereby a high-level JAMB staff went into a cyber cafe, logged into his admin dashboard, where he manages payments of JAMB staffs, and then he left the cyber cafe. What actually happened here? What's the attack that happened here? Attackers basically have gone to that cyber cafe and they've installed keyloggers on that cyber cafe. So when that JAMB staff was putting his password, putting the URL, the username, they've gathered all those information. And then when he left, they came back to that system, logged in, they modified the payment records and put in their own account details. And then money was sent to them, about 10 million naira. This was later discovered and they've been caught. But this is a real life example of the attack. That the physical elements, they use keyloggers on that system, spyware. So those are malwares they use, and basically can be able to relate this with some of the attack methods and methodologies that I earlier described. We also have another one. Last year, I believe some of us might have heard of MTN having downtime last year, and Anonymous Sudan. For those who were on Twitter too, you must have seen the news too. So basically, the Anonymous Sudan claimed they attacked MTN. And for those who were using MTN during that period, you must have observed slight disruption to your network. And there are public releases on this that though the attack was not successful, it affected their network, and Anonymous Sudan claimed responsibility for that attack. So that's a DDoS. They use multiple botnets, attack MTN, so that you, the end users, and us, the end users, would not be able to use their services well. Then the last one I have here is the Ukraine power grid attack. So we know there has been conflict between Ukraine and Russia over the years. In 2015, Russia attacked the Ukraine power grid. They basically brought their power grid down using malware rootkits that shut down their services, and it took them some time before they were able to get it back up, and that affected them. So these are all reward examples. You can also do research into all of this to get more information on these real world examples, and then you see more details about them. All right. So with these, I've come to the end of my presentation. At this moment, I would like to hand over back to Onyinyechi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jefferson, for that very, 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 very detailed and insightful presentation. As I hope you can see that these attackers, they're not here to play with their 15 billion attack methods and methodologies and all of that. So, it just reiterates the need for us to stay vigilant and be aware of these things so that have an idea. The onus is on us as individuals, first of all, to be able to identify certain things and ensure that we're not putting out certain information that could compromise our systems or the systems of our organizations as a whole. But aside that, it's also just important to employ professionals, because we can see how technical some of these attacks can be. So, we cannot do it by ourselves. So guys, it's time for our first poll. So let's just sort of see where our head is at with regards to how organizations prioritize the businesses that they attack. So the first poll would pop up on the screen shortly. Guys, please participate. So you just take your time and answer the questions, and we'll share the results shortly. Thank you. And also, please feel free to engage in the chat box. Ask your questions. If you have any questions for the speakers, feel free to ask them, or just drop your comments as to how you're flowing with the session. If you have any comments with regards to what the speakers are saying, if you have anything to add, just engage us in the chat box. All right, okay, going to end poll now. Thank you so much, guys, for participating. All right, so here are the results. The poll that we just answered, 68% of people got it right. Now we're moving on to our next speaker. Thank you guys for participating in the poll. So our next speaker, Abimbola Adewusi, is a seasoned cybersecurity professional who currently leads our cyber defense team here at Cybervergent. Okay, so Abimbola has a degree in cybersecurity sciences, and he has honed his skills through his passion, through his hands-on expertise and his passion for, safeguarding digital environments. He has a wealth of knowledge with regards to this topic, and guys, just pay attention so that you can take all the knowledge from him. You don't need to pay attention. No. Okay, so Abimbola, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Inye, for that introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. We just listened to Jefferson presentation on how the attacker playbook, how the attacker works, where he spoke about the methodologies, the phishing, where he spoke about malware attacks, password attacks, exploiting software vulnerability, and physical attacks. But now that we are aware on how the attacker plays their game, now that we are aware of how and they carry out the motivation behind most of these their attack. According to the poll, most people say it is financial reasons, some give it different reasons. Now it's now time for us to understand, okay, how do we build a defensive strategy against this attack that Jefferson has explained to us? How do we ensure that as an organization, as individual, as an internet user, that we are well fortified against this kind of attacks? Yes, we've spoken about phishing, we've spoken about malware, we've spoken about password attacks, we've spoken about software vulnerabilities. How do we now fortify ourselves as individuals, as organizations, as institutions against this kind of attack? How do we ensure that we win against the attackers? Because there will surely be attackers, just the way there are always thieves, but it's not left for us to secure our own house against the thief. There's a saying by some Tools we say that know your enemy and know yourself, and you will not be period in a undead battle. So what this quote is saying is that when you know your enemy, it will help you also know yourself. Then there's no way you'll be attacked because you know your enemy, you know how your enemy operates, and in this scenario are the attackers. So how do the attackers operate, and how do we work against these attackers? So when we understand, and Jefferson is breaking down to us how the attackers operate, now this presentation I'm about to do now is how we can work against these attackers, how we can ensure that we are fortified against this attacker. And in this presentation, I'll be focusing on layer security approach. So what is layer security approach? Our layer security approach is when you have different or multiple defense measures or defense strategies. When you have different, okay, let me use a practical example. A practical example is you having your house. The fact that you have a gate at the entrance of your house doesn't mean that you will not have a door at the entrance of your sitting room or your lobby. You have to have another door there. Now, if you have a safe where you keep your valuable things inside your bedroom, you will also lock your bedroom door, then also lock the safe. Now, these are different layers of security that you have employed in this scenario. You have your gate. When people enter through your gate, okay, let's say eventually the thief are able to climb the fence into your compound, they will still have to break another thing. That's what your main entrance door. When they break the entrance door, they have to break the bedroom door. When they break the bedroom door, then they will now break the safe itself. So you can see that you've given them a lot of work to do. So in most scenarios, at some point, they will not be successful and they will have to go back. I know most of us are lovers of movies. We've seen it happens in movies where people want to break into a safe, where they will have to go through different layers, bypass different layers. But when you have different layers of security, it will help you, it kind of fortify yourself. Not just having a fence. Now imagine someone that have maybe a whole battalion of military safeguarding that person. So that means that when you before you even get to the main entrance of the gate, you have to fight a war for you to even get there, not talk of you entering the house. So this having the multiple layers of security. Another layer of security in this scenario is having CCTV. Imagine you having CCTV camera also. This will also help prevent a kind of proactive measure against somebody trying to break into your house. So now let's now bring this into the IT world, into the cyber world. Now, having multiple layers of security will help you mitigate the risks of single point of failure. So in this case, imagine you just have your only door protecting, just a single door protecting your valuable asset. That means that once the attacker can break that single door, that's all. So it will help you mitigate against the risks of single point of failure. Now, we're going to be talking about 6 layers, and I'll be starting with the physical security. So, one of the major things in your organization to protect your digital assets, like your servers, your main digital asset, your server, your network room, is through physical security. And some of the physical security has to do with having personnel, like military men or policemen or bouncers at the door, to protect your physical assets, your facilities. And one of these things also is by having CCTV cameras to protect and having people monitor those CCTV cameras to know who is going into the building and who is coming out. Also having what is called access control system. So access control system help, okay, for example, the use of PIN, the use of PIN, the use of how will I put it now? Maybe your ID card to enter into the house, into the building, the use of biometric using your fingerprint, the use of scanner to enter into the building. Another is, as I said earlier, having CCTV cameras to protect and monitor and report activities and around the premises of the asset. So as an organization, Several Verdant, how do we now help you? We are your trusted advisor. We are certified ISO champion, ISO 27001, which will help you draft a way of, okay, what are the things you need for your network environment? What are the things you need for your environment? So, sorry. So now on layer two, apologies for that. Now on layer two, it's called perimeter defense. Now, so what is perimeter defense? So perimeter defense is the first line of defense against external threats. So external threat in this case against your network, so that's trying to breach into your network. So we're talking about physical security by somebody maybe trying to enter your building to come and do harm to your physical to your digital asset. Now we are not talking now about somebody maybe remotely trying to breach into your network. And one of these ways and one of the tools you can use to prevent against such thing from happening is through firewalls. Now, expect incoming and outgoing. So firewalls, what's a firewall? Firewall is just as the name stands for, wall. So it stands as a wall that filters traffic that comes in, the network traffic that comes in, based on some security policies that have been set. So we've set it that, okay, any request coming from this particular location or from this particular asset or this particular endpoint, don't allow it. So it automatically block it. It checks for the traffic, the packet, to see if there's anything malicious based on the security policies that have been set. Another tool you can use in preventing for your perimeter defense is called intrusion detection and prevention system. So you can also break it into two, IDS and IPS. So, and what they do, as I said, IDS detect while IPS prevent. So if you have IDS, it will not prevent the attack, but it will alert you and tell you that, okay, something is coming in that is suspicious based on the rules that we've set, and we probably want the person to investigate it. While a prevention system, we alert you and let you know that something is going on, but we have prevent it immediately. And how, as an organization, how we can help you as a private organization or as a private entity or as an individual is we can provide you with firewall maintenance service to configure and optimize firewalls rules for maximum protection. Also, we can also help you deploy IDS in your environment or deploy IPS in your environment. Then mention any IPS or IDS in the world today that we are not partners with. We are partners with any most I can say then permit me to say 99% of this company offering this service. We help you set it up in your environment and ensure that the right security policies are being set for your perimeter defense. Now, the layer three now is what's called network security. So this is the protection of your network infrastructure and protocol from unauthorized access and misuse. So in this scenario, After you protect against perimeter defense using firewalls, remember just from COVID-19, that's 2020, everybody has now started doing what is called remote work. Everybody is now working from home, working from different locations that is not in the office, but they have to connect to the office network or to the office environment to carry out some activities. How do you protect yourself against this? How do you ensure that your organization is protected against any form of attack that can happen because the person is not in the office premises? And one of them is called VPN, virtual private network. So VPN in this case is not like the normal VPN we all use when the Twitter was blocked and we wanted accessing Twitter from a different country. VPN are used for things that are more than that. So VPN encrypts your network traffic to ensure communication over public networks. So even should in case you are probably connecting to a malicious network or to a public Wi-Fi, using VPN to communicate with your office, in this case, maybe your office network, maybe the email is on premise in your organization, or there's something, maybe the cloud, the file server is on premise in your organization, and you have to access it to maybe carry it to download the particular file or to send an email. So the use of VPN is necessary. So it will help you encrypt the internet traffic, and also you can also have username and credentials that if you don't have username and password, you're not able to access that your office network or office resources that you want to access. So why is VPN crucial? It's not just for maybe you want to access something from a different country. It's securing data transmission. So I'm not talking about the ones we download for free, all those ones that are that can be malicious, but VPN can also be malicious. We have to download VPN from recognized and certified location or people. So, and having VPN as an organization, we can help you set up your VPN for you. We are partners with a lot of organizations, certified organizations, trusted organizations that provide this VPN as a service. We provide it for you, help you set it up, and ensure that all your staff can easily connect to whatever resources they are supposed to connect to. And also, we can also help you with a network access control system. And what is a network access control? Is control access to the network based on user identity. So if you are a normal user, you shouldn't have access to some particular servers because you have no business with those servers. So having a network access control will help to prevent that. Okay, for example, somebody in the marketing has nothing to do with a server. Somebody in sales has nothing to do with connecting to a particular server, maybe to your transaction server or to your core server. They have no business on it. So using access control, network access control, it will help you work towards that, help you ensure that only the right people have access to the right resources. And we can, as an organization, help you deploy it. We are partners, as I said, being one of the biggest, or I can say the biggest cybersecurity company in Africa currently. We are partners with almost 60 or 70% of organizations that deploy network access control. So layer 4 is what's called endpoint security. What is endpoint? So endpoint in this case, in layman, is just that network device that you're currently using to connect to Zoom currently. That your laptop you're currently using to connect to the Zoom. That's your server. That's any of your assets is what is called endpoint. So, and network endpoint security. So no matter how you've prevented VPN, you've set up VPN, you've set up your perimeter defense firewall, you've set up your physical assets. Another thing you have to ensure that it is well protected is your endpoint, the system, because sometimes when an attacker tries to maybe want to attack your network and is not successful, what we do is, okay, let me go through somebody's system. So, and what we may do is, okay, I know apologies for people that are into marketing or sales there, it's because they are the one that is always outside there. They might decide to go through the marketing team or sales, because just of recent, I think sometimes towards the end of last year, there's an organization that we have to do incident response for that was through somebody, I think it's in sales team, that they were able to attack that particular organization. It's a financial institution. So the attack started from that particular sales girl. They installed, she probably download on a phishing link that was explained by Jefferson just of recent. He downloaded a link, click on a link on a phishing link, and through that, probably unknowingly downloaded the malware, and from that particular system, they were able to enter the network because their system is on the network. So it's easy for you to enter a network through a particular endpoint on that network. You can pivot or do what is called lateral movement and move through into every other systems. So when you don't when so and even if the organization have a good network security, it is easy because that system is part of a legitimate system that's supposed to be on the network. So and a normal network, my system currently can communicate to another system in the organization, but cannot communicate with server because I don't have anything to do with server, but I can still communicate to other systems on the network. So that's why organizations and you as an individual, you using your phone that have your mobile app or your banking mobile app on that phone needs to protect your endpoint. That means your phone, your laptops. Most of us use internet banking for our laptops for internet banking. We have to ensure that we protect that particular endpoint from attacks that Jefferson mentioned. And some of the tools that we use is called antivirus and anti-malware. Though this is for probably for individuals that cannot avoid sophisticated software. You can use anti-malware. You can reach out to us. We can tell you the anti-malware that is okay to use that can still protect you a little bit from such a virus or malware that you may have downloaded over the internet. But one of the things we recommend now is what is called the endpoint detection and response. So endpoint detection and response is not, as I said, detection, it detects it and it responds to it. So it provides advanced threat detection and response capability on endpoint. So it can easily detect even zero-day attack. You know, we all know what zero-day attack is. Okay, if you don't know, zero-day attacks are attack that just come out fresh, like from the oven, like when it just been still very hot. Your the EDR can detect it because it uses what is called anomaly behavior and AI. So it checks for it does what's called behavior analysis and notice that this thing is not something normal. It's not what, for example, when you notice what you do on your system every day, you notice what you do on your phone every day. Normally, there are some things you don't do on your phone, but suddenly you started doing it. Suddenly, you started downloading from where you're not supposed to download from. It can automatically detect and that this thing is not something right and automatically delete it. And as I've been saying since, we are partners with the best EDRs in town. Mention that kind of EDR. I don't want to advertise now, but I can tell you, reach out to us. We will give you list of EDR. Even if you have an EDR you want us to come and set up on your environment or for individuals, reach out to us. We have we are partners with them. And being saying that we are partners means that we are first responder. That means that sometimes these people, when you reach out to them, they may be in the middle of the night, it may be in the middle of the day, and all those kind of things, all these white people or something. We are your Nigerians that you see every day, we are Africans, we can easily help you respond to most of these things. Yeah, to any query, any kind of support you need, we respond to it. So that's what is called partnership. We partners with them because, and for them to give us, say, we are partners, that means that so that we are certified, we are well trained to use their solution. The layer 5 is application security. So most organizations today, everybody is not coding, everybody is not setting up codes, mobile application, having web apps. And so for some organization, their mobile application is their core source of income for the organization. That's where they get their profits. And how we have an application, though you have what is called the endpoint security, you've either the last 4 layer, you still need another layer of security if you are also into application and development. And that is called, and that is why we are on layer 5 application security. So it helps to protect against protection of software applications from threats and vulnerability throughout the development lifecycle. So it will help you. So should even when you are done developing and you want to roll out, and as Jefferson said, there's something they call DOS attack. There's something they call cross-site scripting attack. There's something they call SQL injection attack. There's something they call using components with known vulnerability. So there are different kind of attacks, web attacks. These are just normal web attacks that your traditional firewall may not be able to stop, that your normal network security may not be able to stop because these are designed for web application. Trying to inject something into your code, trying to manipulate something in your code, trying to exploit your code when you've already deployed it. So that's why you will need a technology called web application firewall. So web application firewall stands between your client and the server. So the client here in this situation is the browser. Anytime you are accessing maybe your browser or your phone, if you're trying to access a particular website, you are accessing the server. You are sending the request to the server, and the server will respond with whatever request you sent to it. So it will filter traffic that is coming from your browser, filter those traffic, ensure that the traffic is clean before it hits your server. So it's protecting your server from malicious requests. Another thing is what's called secure coding practice. And as an organization, we do this a lot. We lecture your programmers, your developers. We can lecture them on what is called secure coding practice. And we also, as an organization, do what is called secure coding review. So after they are done coding, before you roll out to production, we come in and review the code and ensure that this code are secure before it's being rolled out. So, but no matter the secure coding, a secure coding may not be able to stop what is called a denial of service attack or a distributed denial of service attack called DOS or DDoS. So a secure coding, that's why you still need that's the layers of security. Even no matter the secure coding, ensure that you do input validation, ensure that you do input sanitization, ensure that you do end-to-end encryption. You still need what is called a web application firewall to prevent you in case of a DOS attack. And how does DOS attack work? Is when a programmer wants to try to hack into a website and is unable to hack into it, is unable to disturb it. The next thing we think is, okay, if I cannot get anything from it, let me bring it down. And we've seen it happen during the 2020 NSAS, Anonymous, where they were bringing a lot of websites down. It's not maybe they hack into it. What they did was to bring it down so that it's not be available to the right users. That's what's called DOS attack. So a web application firewall, that's one of the selling points of web application firewall is to prevent against a DOS attack. And as an organization, mention any web application firewall today that is existing, that is known, that is certified. We are partners with them, and we can help you set it up for your environment. So number 6, layer 6 is called data encryption and security. Okay, you've done a web application, you've protected a network, you've done perimeter defense. Okay, what else is again? You need what is called data security. So data security is essential for protecting sensitive information from unauthorized access and disclosure. So everybody, your system, they are not even working inside the office environment. Everybody is working from home. As an individual, you are probably a freelancer working from this one side of your bedroom. You need to have what is called data security. Should in case maybe somebody is even able to enter your system, was able to eventually breach your system, they won't be able to get any valuable information out because you've already encrypted it. And if they don't know the algorithm being used, if they don't know the key, either the public key or the private key used to encrypt those data, your file, your Microsoft Word, your PDF is all encrypted. It will help you. Okay, so in case they even let's say that at the end of the day they're able to breach into that server, they're able to breach into, they will not be able to get anything valuable from it because it has been encrypted. For example, let's say that you have a database server now that stores user credentials and you've passworded all those everything, you've encrypted all those information. So it's with an attacker able to do all his phishing, password attack, exploiting software vulnerability, get to that place and you're still not able to use that information because it is encrypted or it is hashed. And that thing is what is called data loss prevention solution. So data loss prevention solution, let me give you a practical example of the data loss prevention solutions is, for example, if you set up a DLP on your laptop, you can set it that you don't want any data transfer. So if you plug your phone USB cable into that your laptop, it will just be charging your phone, but you're not able to transfer any data from your phone to your laptop. You're not able to do that because you've already set it that you don't want any data transfer from outside that system. And as an organization, that's what you have to do because we've seen situation. I think this year where we got a report that a particular maybe disgruntled employee maybe was leaving the organization, a particular banking organization, and decided to move some files owned by the organization to somewhere else. So he decided to move all the files that he used to work for that organization to somewhere else. And the next thing he did was to delete it. So after he moved it to his own secure hard drive, he decided to delete it. So if you have a data loss prevention, you can set a rule that nobody is allowed to delete any file on a laptop. So no matter what you are doing, once you create it, you cannot delete it. You can also send it out. You cannot, using a DLP, you can also say that, okay, I don't want this person to send my document outside, so maybe through the internet. So, for example, I know in my organization currently, using your Gmail, if you're using Gmail, that's it, because it doesn't want the organization use. If you use Gmail, maybe your personal email account, you want to do an attachment on your official laptop, this is not going to allow it, because it believes that you are trying to send complete information to somebody outside the organization. So having this also in your environment, so it's like, okay, if they breach everything, they're able to enter your breach your physical security, your perimeter defense, your network security, your application security, the other layer 5 security. Then if at the end, when they now enter that particular system, the endpoint security also, when they are able to enter that system, any information they see there, they will not be able to use it because you prevented them from using it. So in conclusion, this is one of the ways where, as an organization, we do everything you are saying here is what we do internally in an organization. You can just probably let us know if you want to pay a visit to confirm everything we've said. We are highly welcome, especially as an organization, you're highly welcome. You will see that we do everything. So this is just, as a cybersecurity company, we preach, we do what we preach. So when we preach something, we also do it. We are not just telling you and asking that do as I say, don't do as I do. No, we will tell you do as we do, because we do it. And it is a crucial concept of layer security approach, ensuring that you follow layer security, not just a single point, not just, okay, I have endpoint security on everybody's assets, that means on everybody's laptop. I don't need to encrypt that. I don't need to set up a DLP. I don't need to set up firewall. I don't need to set up a network access control. I don't need to set up a web application firewall for my servers that are connecting to the web. You are in for a big trouble, because, as you know, when it comes to money, people can do anything for money, and that's the same way attackers can also do anything for money. So with this, I also advise you partner with us. As an organization, we can lecture you more, we can give you more information on how to defend yourself against these attacks that Jefferson spoke about. The attackers are not winning and are not joking. But the only way we want to do it is that we want to ensure that we win. And so far, as an organization, I can say it with all goodness, we've not experienced any form of attacker winning against us. No, we have always been winning. We're always on the top front. Especially in cyber defense, we always win it. We've always won. And that's why you see that our topic was game of threat, how attacker play and how we win. We did not say how we are supposed to win. We have been winning and we will continue to win because we're always at the top of our game. Thank you.
Can you guys see that when I promised you a knowledge fact session, I was not joking. I hope we're taking notes, so I hope we're taking notes, because these things that the speakers are dishing out today, very, 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 very valuable information. I particularly love how, we're going through like a journey here. Jefferson came at us from the angle of the attacker, how they can attack us from using different methods, using various angles. Now, Abibola has told us how we can protect ourselves, from all of these forms of attacks that attackers are using. So I love how everything is just connecting and we're trying to following the story to get the message. So before we take our final speaker, we'll take the second poll to see, kind of just gauge where we're at with respect to what Abimbola just spoke about. So the second poll will go up shortly. Please vote, guys. And I'm absolutely loving the energy in the comments section. Guys, please keep your questions coming. We'll have a session where the speakers will answer all of the questions that you have. So you should keep engaging. Thank you. All right. Second poll is up. It says votes. It is how satisfied are you with your current organization's security posture? So we're just judging from all of the information that Abimbola just shared, all of the things that you need to put in place, where do you think your organization is at in terms of security and all the tools that you need to implement? That's good, guys. I'll end the poll shortly and share the results. Vote, if you've not voted. Okay. So 55% of us said we're very satisfied. And that's good, at least. It's more than half. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for participating in the poll. Now, let's welcome our next speaker. So, Chinemere Okafor is a renowned research and intelligence specialist with expertise in cybersecurity, threat analysis, and mitigation strategies. As a well sought after speaker, she has delivered impactful lectures in areas such as emerging cyber threats, threat hunting, and data privacy. So you can just imagine what we're about to receive right now. Actually, Miriam, from the previous speakers, we've sort of gathered that this cybersecurity is like a journey and it's a constant battle. So could you share with us how ongoing vigilance is key to winning the game of threats? You have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Onyinyechi. I'd just like to quickly refer to what Abimbola said because it was a very amazing closing remark. He said, as an organization, we stay winning. And we always win. And the only way we can continue winning is having an ongoing vigilance and continuously monitoring and not allowing our attackers to evolve more than we do and not allowing them to be the experts rather than schooling them basically. So before my colleagues have, should I say, built a house, Jefferson has laid the foundation about the attackers playbook. Abimbola has built the house, and let me take you guys on a roofing journey. Let's roof this house quickly. So yes, from my screen, you can see winning the game, ongoing vigilance. We have 3 pillars of continuous security. When we say something is ongoing, we say it never stops. If we say your organization is winning, working with us or partnering with us, we want you to stay like that. We want it to be continuous. And through my research, I've seen that continuous security has 3 pillars. This is continuous threat monitoring, actionable threat intelligence, continuous monitoring, actionable threat intelligence, proactive threat hunting. These pillars are basically foundations. They're foundations for proactive threat defense. Now, there's a difference between, I'm sure we know this, reactive and being proactive. Allowing you, the fact that we allow you to identify, being proactive allows you to identify and address risks before they become a problem. We are not a post organization. We want to know that, we want you to know that we are safeguarding your infrastructures, we are safeguarding your assets before an attack or a threat or even a breach occurs. And this is the main goal for us, staying proactive even with the evolving threat landscape. Let's move on because of our time. Continuous threat monitoring. Let me scroll back to what my colleague Abimbola said. You've layered your security, you've bought your CCTV. Imagine buying a CCTV in your home and traveling. Would you say you've been highly secured? Would you say robbers would not be able to invade your house or steal your valuables because you have a CCTV? You have a defense strategy. You have security in place. You have padlocks, you have gates, and you have barbed wires. Well, let me ask, who is looking through them? Because I mean, you're away. Who is monitoring this? Who knows that there was a glitch, or there was a suspicious activity, or there was a movement, or there is a threat in your organization or in your home? Let's say your home. Who can catch the first glimpse? A CCTV has been sold, yes. But from an ongoing point of view, that's a reactive motion. At CyberVigilance here, we have a 24/7 expert SOC analysts. They are here to use security tools, state-of-the-art security tools. I mean, the SIEM, the EDR, Abimbola has mentioned quite a few. We do this through ongoing monitoring. We're here to safeguard. We're here to watch and see your visibility. We know when there has been a traffic pattern that is an anomaly. We know when a user behavior, probably they have been logging from an unexpected location. I mean, someone has tried to come from the back door of your home. A potential anomaly has occurred. The windows has opened. We know that you have 3 windows, or a back door and another gate. Your CCTV has picked that there is a movement, but you're not there to see it. So you can only come back and see the evidence of probably like a broken house and your CCTV showing that there was a movement before, robbers came in, stole your valuables, and are out. You can only start doing what we call incident response, or what? Post crying over spilled milk, basically. But from here, working with us, partnering with us, we do continuous threat monitoring. We show you that you need the state-of-the-art tools. We show you that you need to layer your defense. We give you the 6 layers of defense. We tell you about physical security, but we advise you to please stay and continue monitoring with us. What does continuous monitoring mean? I mean, it gives you like real-time visibility into your network. It enables us it gives us a window. We can see into your network. We can evaluate your traffic patterns. We can see user behaviors that are anomalous. All you have to do in your organization is sit back and let us report this to you. Let us escalate the fact that we have seen an anomaly and we have mitigated it, all by continuous threat monitoring. So we do not just advise you as an organization to layer your security, to implement access controls, to bring in security tools in which we know that you can't function without it, but you do not know the intricacies of the security tools. We are here to constantly monitor for anomalies, monitor for threats, be proactive and show you a proactive defense. We're here to build walls, build foundations, roofs, lock the door with a padlock and use a chain, while still monitoring, still ready to alert you, still analyzing, investigating, and showing you that with a faster detection response, you do not have to worry about a breach. You don't even have to worry about a potential damage. Another pillar is threat intelligence. This is my favorite part. Before I go into the technical jargons, let's bring it locally. Let's talk about grabbing or collecting intelligence. The governor of Lagos State, he wants to come to maybe Agege or Festac or somewhere or another state if we're talking about this. What does he do first? His aides or his security advisors or the police, let's say the police, they go to that location or they go around the location, within the location, outside the location, every perimeter. What do? They collect information. Are roads bad? Is there any hotel he can stay in? Is there any hotel that can house the governor? What are the security controls within this hotel? What do we need to put in place to allow this governor make decisions and come to this area? What do we have to put in place to make sure that the convoy is secure, he is secure, his aides are secure, whoever is coming with him, maybe his advisors are all secure? What are they doing? They're collecting intelligence, they're collecting information and bringing it back to the State House for what? Analysis, dissemination, and ability to be able to share resources in preparation for the governor's arrival. That's basically what threat intelligence is. Now, let's go to technicalities. Threat intelligence, as we can see on the screen, is the collection, analyzing, and dissemination of information. And not just that, for it to be actionable, we change this information into data, into insights that can proactively strengthen and fortify your organization's the organization's security posture, because I mean, that's the main aim. What's the essence of gathering information or gathering data and your security posture is still weak, or your security posture still has a back door in which it can be infiltrated in? Why do we analyze this data? Why do we get this data? Why do we collect this data? If you can remember the example from the governor, we do this to identify patterns of threat actors, to identify patterns of these hackers that Jefferson mentioned earlier. When we do this, we also analyze further to understand attack motivations. Why are they doing this? Why are the attackers? What is them? Most of the time, I can tell you from research, 95% of this time is the financial gain. The 5%, they're trying to school you and your organization that your security posture is weak. It's a thing of pride for them to release your sensitive information, or is a thing of pride for them or pride for an attacker to show the world that he has done this. He has collected trophies. He has gone hunting and he has come back with what? Trophies. And lastly, we analyze data, we analyze intelligence and make them actionable insights to be able to predict future attacks. When we collect data, we already know there are known threats to us now. We know the patterns, we know the motivations, we know the techniques. What can we deduce from this? How can we further help your organization to know that an unknown threat can come tomorrow? It has similar patterns. We believe this is what's happening. This is the reason why we collect data and we analyze it into actionable intelligence. What are the benefits of actionable intelligence? From our example, I feel like I broke it down, but let's go into the technicality now. The aides had brought in intelligence. They've sent it to the state house. The governor is aware of where he's going to. He's aware that the roads are bad. He's aware that if kidnappers would want to stop him on the road, if there's a pothole there, they're likely to affect him. Is the bulletproof car working? Is that what we're using? 7 convoys. We do actionable intelligence for you to have a proactive defense. It helps you just identify unknown threats and potential vulnerabilities. Jefferson spoke about, he mentioned some vulnerabilities. He also spoke about zero-day vulnerabilities. When we carry out actionable intelligence, we allow you to sit and we gather information that can affect your organization, information that can shake the foundation and security posture of this. I mean, if you have a weak security posture, imagine a breach occurs. Imagine you do not subscribe to intelligence. There's no threat intelligence structure in your security or in your organization. Nothing for your decision makers to know if there is going to be a problem in the future, or if maybe your e-commerce or your website is going to be hacked, if there are vulnerabilities, if there are backdoors that can potentially allow threat actors to come in. How would they be able to make information? This is the reason why a threat intelligence structure is needed in your security. It makes sure that when we identify vulnerabilities, we are able to patch them, give a patch management, and we're able to implement security controls that before an attack occurs, we're here, we are watching it. It also helps you to improve security posture. I mean, we've patched vulnerabilities, we've seen from our end, and from that time, we know that there is no backdoor yet. There is no more backdoor. Every backdoor has been closed. We are ready and we are airtight. It strengthens your defenses against world threats, against evolving threats. Because with analysis and with actionable intelligence, we have fed it into every security tool plugged in the organization. And every backdoor, CVEs, we've patched them already. It gives a faster incident response time. Threat intelligence analysts work hand in hand with SOC analysts. We feed them information, we feed them information, we feed security tools, or security tools are fed with information. I mean, IOs, indicators of compromise, indicators of attacks are being fed there. What does this do? Is this to just populate the security tool? No. We do this to help the SOC analysts easily identify threats. They're not wasting their time on false positives. And when an alert comes on, which mirrors or mimics an IOC or a technique or tactics used by a threat actor, which we have analyzed from the wild, it could be LastPass, it could be Black Cats, which we have analyzed from the wild. They know what to do and how to analyze faster, where to weed out false positives, and they give a faster incident response time. Furthermore, we help your organization or your management, let's say, to prioritize response. We know that most problems of IT guys, or should I say, IT guys in organizations, is the ability to convince the management that resources should be spent on security tools. If you're not able to convince them or give them the reasons why these security tools will add value, reasons why the mal or the antivirus they bought before, the reason why the antivirus they subscribe for, the antivirus they bought before is not enough and you need an EDR. Basically, actionable intelligence or intelligence helps you to prioritize your risks. It shows you the severity of this risk, the potential impacts of this risk, the likelihood of this risk. Every threat has its potential, has its severity, and has the likelihood. This actionable intelligence helps you to make a list of priority. Which threats can your organization embrace? Which threats can you position resources to mitigate? Which threats can you, live with? And which threats do you budget in your security plan? We allow you to make more security investments. When you have budgeted your money and your resources on the right tools that we have advised on based on intelligence we have gathered from your organization, intelligence we have gathered from the wild,
Hi, everyone. So let's just hold on a bit for Chinwe to come back up. Yeah, she's experiencing some technical difficulties, but she'll be back up very soon. I just hope that we're following through, with her presentation and we're putting down her questions so that when she's back up, she can take them. Right? I was really enjoying her session. I was just following through. Something that particularly stuck out for me was how in threat intelligence, you're able to like identify emerging threats. So you're not just sitting around and playing around with the ones that you've already identified before, the ones that are still upcoming, you're able to identify and put controls in place for those threats. So like today has been really, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure that we have all learned a lot as well. Thank you again for participating in this webinar. Your engagements have been very solid. So we appreciate that. Just to remind you that all of the things that we're speaking of and all of the services and solutions that have been mentioned, that Cyber also offers these solutions. So, our details are in the chat box. So in case you just want to reach out to us, to talk more about your security needs, or if you have further questions about the solutions and services that we provide. I don't know if I mentioned earlier that we also have an AI-powered digital trust platform, that helps to ensure that organizations achieve digital trust. We have that. So if you want to schedule a demo, schedule a demo, see how that works. Our information is in the chat box, so you can always reach out to us with any of your inquiries. So I guess while we wait, maybe we can take a few of the questions that have already been asked in the chat. Let me just go through the chat box and see like what questions that have come up. I'll just wait for the minutes to get back up. Okay, so someone asked, Mhm. I would like to ask the offensive security engineer, what does it entail to be a SOC analyst? So I don't know, Jefferson or Abimbola, would you like to take that question, sort of shed light into what you take? Okay. You're welcome. Olawale. Thank you for participating in the session as well. So in regards to this stock analyst question, I know that CyberVergent is currently running an internship program um, that you can maybe participate in to gain more knowledge into how you can become a stock analyst. So if the application is still up, I'm guessing it will be put in the chat box and then maybe you can just follow through from there. But if or Abimbola would also like to still just give you some information as to the things that you could do, that'll also be good. We're going
So you can just continue and you want to answer the question.
Okay. Onye, let me answer the question. One of the questions inside the chat. Jefferson wants to answer. I would like to have the offensive security engineer. What does it entail to be a SOC analyst? So, very quick. I think you've already answered, but first of all, you have to understand the basic concept of cybersecurity. First of all, so when you understand what cybersecurity is, so you cannot just become a security operations center analyst without you knowing the basic concept of cybersecurity. So understanding what the cybersecurity is, understanding the different aspects of cybersecurity will make you make an informed decision on where you want to fall under being a SOC analyst. So under being a SOC analyst, you can either be a cyber defense analyst, you can be a cyber offense analyst, you can even under cyber defense, we also have the threat intelligence analyst, the threat hunting analyst, and different form of so sub departments of category in the SOC. So you have to first of all understand what cybersecurity is. So with that, you're able to pick a site. Okay, this is where I want to go to become a SOC analyst. Then you attend trainings. You go through. I know on cyber you will see you become a SOC analyst, or there are some certifications you have to have or write, like a security plus like CompTIA or some basic cybersecurity training that you have to go through. For example, we are currently undergoing internship. We are going to be having internship program very soon. The internship program is going to be a 6 weeks intensive training. So this we are training you on cybersecurity, and also we are going to train you on cyber defense. We are going to train you on cyber offense. We are going to train you on advisory part. We are going to train you on security engineering part of it. So with this, yes, we cannot say that okay, this is the part of SOC analysis I want to be, either from a cyber defense point of view or from a cyber offense point of view. Thank you. Uh, thank you. Okay, for the training. So Prince James is asking when is the training coming up. There's already adverts already on. Check our LinkedIn, our social media post. You will see how to submit your CV. You will see the criteria you are expected to have. So we're expecting that you must understand what the basics of cybersecurity, have some basic training on cybersecurity before you can answer if you want to become a SOC analyst. because it's all about cybersecurity. So check our social media accounts, our Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I think we're even on TikTok. Go through it. You'll see. And I think our social media team, will also post the flyer again immediately after this section. So yeah, for Peace Dreams, you will see we are currently assessing CV. We will do an interview to understand how far you're doing in cybersecurity. Then when you are doing the interview, you will now be called in for the training for the 6 weeks training.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Abimbola, for that very, very detailed answer. I hope that answers both of your questions. But if you still have further questions, please feel free to ask. Right? So we're still waiting on Chini. So what would you like? I think now's a good time for us to take our third poll. Let's just do that while we wait. All right, guys, third poll is up. Please cast your votes. Please, how would you rate the importance of having multi-layer security in modern organizations? You guys participate in the poll. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for participating in the poll. 88% of us voted for extremely important and 12% voted for very important. So far you said it's important. That works, I guess. Thank you for participating. Oh, I didn't share the results. So these are the results for the poll that you just participated in. 88%, 12%. Thanks. Just going through the comments, see if you have any more questions to take. I can see how people were, asking questions and then other participants were answering. So it just shows that we're following the sessions, and I absolutely love that. We didn't even have to wait for the speakers to, answer the questions. So that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so we're back, guys. She's going to come up shortly. Thank you. Thank you guys for your patience. Thank you for staying with us on the webinar.
Hi guys. Sorry for the technical disruption. I am back currently trying to share my video. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to quickly go back to where exactly we were. We're talking about actionable threat intelligence. So if you can remember, I took you through the 3 pillars of continuous security, which is continuous threat monitoring, actionable intelligence. We spoke about, we used the example of the governor and his aides. We spoke about how we collect data from internal and external sources around the environment, know whether the roads are bad, know if to share resources on bulletproof cars. We talked about why we analyze data to identify patterns of threat actors that Jefferson had spoken about earlier, to understand their motivation. And I spoke about how most of them, 95% of these threat actors, are always financially motivated. I mean, why would you want to hack without getting money? But there is a 5% who enjoy causing reputational damage to organizations, especially big firms. This is what they do. They do this or show this side of the firms to see that the people you thought had a strong security posture are actually weak. This was done with 2022. I think ShopRite in Kenya, they were breached and their password revealed, which showed that they were using admin, password 123, and the threat group actually stated that they didn't want any financial gain. They just wanted to show the world that ShopRite, as big of a conglomerate that it is, had weak passwords and weak security posture. I had spoken about why or benefits of having an actionable threat intelligence. We talked about the proactive defense, how actionable threat intelligence helps to identify unknown threats and helps to bring out potential vulnerabilities and give a patch management. We spoke about improved security posture. I mean, when every back door is closed, every open gate is closed, every hole is locked, we do not foresee threats and we do not foresee a breach, and that's why we're here 24/7 monitoring. We also spoke about threat intelligence structure in how important threat intelligence structure is in your organization, how integrating it with your SOC enables faster incident response. I mean, when we feed IOCs, or that's indicators of compromise as I spoke about, or indicators of attacks into security tools already implemented in your or put in your organizational structure, it tends to weed out false positives, which enables SOC analysts to work faster, raise alarms, know which threats are a risk, and know when to analyze and know when to mitigate, and obviously send you reports. All you have to do is sit down and make your decisions based on reports we've done, analyzing and disseminating information to you. I also spoke about prioritized response. It helps to know the severity of risks, the potential impact of the risk or threats in the organization, and the likelihood. Lastly, we talked about when you know this, you know where to channel your resources into, what risks are high risk, what risk you can embrace, what risk your organization can do without, and what risk you need to mitigate as soon as possible to hold the structure in place and make sure your security posture is high and firm. Threat hunting. What does threat hunting really entail? We spoke about continuous monitoring. Continuous monitoring basically in this aspect is like going through a wave, the top of the water and the surface, combing through it. Actionable intelligence, picking out information from this water, from the surface, from the beach sand, picking out shells from the water, picking out sea leaves, corals. Threat hunting is going deep beyond the surface. We're going beyond simply monitoring your threats. We're going beyond simply sitting down and saying every vulnerability has been patched. We have seen no threats. We have seen no backdoors. We have analyzed. We have monitored. We go beyond that. Now, I told you threat hunters work alongside SOC analysts. They take action, this same actionable intelligence, they collect it and use it to further seek and do a sort of investigation and detective work to look for potential cyber crimes. Yes, you're not seeing a threat now, but has a threat evaded you at any point in time? Are there techniques, tactics littered around in your organization that you cannot easily pick or has evaded some of the security tools? This is basically what threat hunting does. Thinking like a detective, going deep into your security posture to pick out evidences and clues that it will need to enrich your organization. It will need to plaster those walls and lock those doors and chains to make sure that we are impenetrable. Your organization is impenetrable in partnership with us, of course. So let's go deep. Threat hunting methodologies. Amazing, right? Let's go down to what actually threat hunting is. Let's divide it. We know who hunters are. We know what they do. They hunt wild animals. Threat hunting has 4 methodologies. You can see hypothesis-driven, intelligence-driven, kill chain, and custom hunting. So I will try to use an analogy to not allow technical jargons to bore you. So imagine there is a hunter in a village, and the villagers has come. He's a renowned hunter, obviously, for villagers to approach him. And there is a complaint that a snake actively comes to a village through the forest to eat chickens. That's the major complaint that is happening. And he has brought it to the table of this hunter. The villagers have required that this hunter go, find out where the snake is, kill it, and block every pathway it will use to come back into the system if there was actually a snake. Now, a hunter, if for hypothesis-driven hunting, the hunter would what? He would make a plan, a potential threat, a plan of the potential threat. Now, a potential threat is what? A snake coming into the village to pick out a child or to eat chickens. He uses this hypothesis now, these different hypotheses to run through threat hunting tools like EDR to find patterns and to be able to find patterns and specific indicators to indicate that this snake has thoroughly come through this forest. What would he be looking for? Probably chicken feathers, blood. We know that snakes hide in cold places. We know that he has passed through the forest, was indicated in the complaints. The threat hunter will go through these indicators. We go through these specific patterns to try and see how it can access and bring out a structure in which this snake, and this snake is our threat, works. It runs these various plans, or it starts from behind a door or behind a house close to the forest, or the house that we know has more chickens, or the chickens could have likely been killed from there, walks through the forest, goes to moist places to see that snakes do live in moist places. They live in cold areas. Checking patterns. Has this snake shed its skin? If we see a shed skin there, we know that it has passed through there. Has there been a clear path where it slithered away? Is it 1 or 2? That is what hypothesis-driven hunting is. To know the specific indicators and patterns in a data, to be able to deduce threats, to be able to deduce the complaints if a snake was actively in the system or a snake has actively been in the village to kill chickens. Now we go to intelligence-driven hunting. I mentioned how we gather for actionable intelligence, indicators of compromise, we gather indicators of attacks, we gather within this indicator of compromise, TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures of this threat group or any threat group in the wild will want to threat hunt in your organization or in an organization. Let's go back to our hunter and our snake. So we've gathered information that the snake is a python or it's an anaconda. So we know that the pathway will be big. Every tactic we know that an anaconda would use, every technique we know that it would use coming to the village, its procedures when it wants to kill or when it's going for a hunt is what we use in an intelligence-driven hunting. We use this to analyze, as we do in the hypothesis. We use this to break down and come to a conclusion that there are relevant threats based on what? World threat activities. We know that anacondas wrap their prey around, break their bones, and kill them. And we know that if we have an anaconda in a village or we have an anaconda in our village, we won't just be worrying about the chickens. Everything in its sight that has blood will go down. Hence, this is what intelligence is. It picks, this is what intelligence-driven hunting does. It picks TTPs from threat actors that have caused breaches worldwide. It could be in your sectors. It could be in the financial sector. We pick maybe Black Cat, maybe LastPass, whatever technique we know that they have used to breach an organization, likely to yours or likely to your environment. We use that to threat hunts, and this happens at intelligence-driven hunting. Custom hunting now. We merge custom hunting here uses queries and scripts. And now this particular hunt goes only to very skilled hunters who, let's say a hunter who has been very aware of this environment. He has lived here for years. He knows the in and the outs. He can formulate plans. He knows where there's a hidden back door. He knows where there's a tunnel in this environment. He has further monitored your environment for a period of time. He uses queries or scripts to do this hunting. Kill chain based hunting, just like our kill chain breaking down, reconnaissance, initial access, lateral movements. A threat hunter uses each of these phases to comb your environment, threat hunting bit by bit, from reconnaissance down to initial access, moving to lateral movement till it's done and gets results. Most times, or with skilled or expert threat hunters, they merge these methodologies. They do not use one methodology. So no threat hunter or expert threat hunter says, I use just hypothesis-driven hunting, or intelligence-driven hunting is all I use, or I just stick with custom. Most of this is merged to get deeper insights of whatever threat I will be locking in, to get deeper insights of whatever backdoor could have or threat could have invaded security tools or our knowledge. Benefits of threat hunting. I mean, they are straightforward as it is. Proactive defense. Threat hunting enables you to identify any threat that can cause you damage, any threat that has invaded your first eyes, invaded your first line of security, and is trying to come directly to what senses information, critical access, critical assets, public-facing assets. We help you to be proactive. We do not wait for a breach or an incident response to happen. Threat hunting gives you the perfect proactive defense you need to layer your organization. And from that, we know that it will improve your security posture. I mean, vulnerabilities are uncovered, defenses are tightened, threats are mitigated, threats are even further uncovered. They are linked and they are mimicked to other sectors or organizations that have gone through breaches because of these threats. So we are making your organization airtight by threat hunting, using these indicators of compromise, using further indicators of attacks on this. And as I always say, a faster response time. The speed it takes to mitigate a threat saves you the money it takes to fuel or foot the bills of the cost of a breach. It's that easy. So to avoid a breach, you need a threat intelligence structure in your organization. You need threat hunters to use adequate tools. You can use the same, most tools are used for threat hunting, SIEM, the EDR. EDR is usually preferred because it streamlines down to endpoints, streamlines down to the users, and you can see further every single thing, threats that are happening. It gives a thorough and robust hunting and combing through an organization, as we said, for a secure posture and to keep you winning. I would just want to talk about the weakest link. I'm sorry to say this. In an organization, us humans are the weakest link. I have a quote that always says, the best defense against a bad guy is a well-trained good guy. Frontline defense is always humans. The frontline defense in an organization are the employees. They are the sort of walls. They are the thin lines to whether your organization will be breached or not. Let me tell you something. Threat actors do not always go for tools. They do not go to breach tools. Their first line of action is to breach the individual, to social engineer them, to manipulate them, to make sure they divulge information in which they can have easy access into your organizations. And what are basic employee vulnerabilities that occur? Phishing, the phishing factor. I mean, phishing links are steady. I have one. 2 days ago, I received an email my email I know I don't share around, and it was talking about, because I use GIG Logistics a lot, and I am a merchant there on GIG Logistics. That I send out deliveries all the time. And I received an email stating that I need to click a link to have an account officer to manage my account. And that link will take me to a Telegram channel. Why do I have to click a link to get to a Telegram channel? And it was a well-crafted email. It was a well-crafted email. It came the first time. It came the second time with a sense of urgency, saying that if I do not have an account manager, I would lose my account. How? If it was someone who is not cybersecurity savvy, I would click the link. There was normally we're used to phishing emails having misspelled words that we know that, oh, this spelling is wrong. This is definitely a phishing email. This URL is wrong. Everything in this email, with the use of AI, threat actors are evolving. They're looking as real as you and I could write it. I received that email and the link, perfect. All I had to do was click the link and go to a Telegram channel. And I have my bank apps on my phone. Once I do that, I'm sure my credentials have been stolen. This is what we need to know. Are your employees clicking links that they are not supposed to? Are they using their official email addresses to sign up to applications? Maybe because obviously we know how it is. You sign up to an application with your email address, you've forgotten the password, you no longer have access to it. What's the nearest email you can use? Your office email, your official email. Nobody would know, but the threat actors will know. They usually go to porous sites like this to fish out credentials, and you're being bombarded with phishing emails, and you believe that your organization is as safe. It should be anyways. If you work with us and have email security, you believe that your organization is to be safe enough to weed out these phishing mails, and it comes to you probably with a sense of urgency, and you've clicked on this mail, being the vulnerable and being the link to which an organization is being breached. Is that easy? These days, phishing emails do not need to have misspelled words. They do not need to have dogs with double G or cats with triple S. Dogs will be looking like dogs and cats will be looking like cats. How aware are you of your surrounding? How aware are you of the threats happening in your organization? Another one, it is always my favorite to explain insider threats. The enemy within is greater than the enemy outside. It knows your defenses. It knows your weak points. It knows your structure, and it can break it down. Insider threats are divided into two. They are the negligent employees, the employees who do it unintentionally, and they are the malicious ones. Let's quickly run through the negligent ones. I have an example. July 2020, Twitter, that is now X, had a phishing incident. Some employees who had access to internal system were spammed with a lot of phishing mails. And unfortunately, they did click on it and their accounts were compromised. Furthermore, 137,000 accounts were compromised, including high-profile accounts. I'm talking about Joe Biden, I'm talking about Obama, Bill Gates, Kanye West, and there were tweets being released that send me your Bitcoin and a famous person will double it. The internal employees tried to delete these tweets and still could not. So it showed that there was something going on in their system and something working. They had a lot of damages. They came out to do damage control, but what happened? Reputation is still there. It's obviously, tweet is Twitter. The internet does not forget. Bad reputation has occurred, even if we still use Twitter tomorrow. But sometimes you know that even your big companies, even the companies you look up to, have negligent staff. Do you want to be a negligent staff? Furthermore, malicious, the second one. There is a company called Proofpoint Company. They had a director of national sales. He was in charge of sales nationally in the country, that's America. And he currently got a new job with a competitor. I know it's always advised against. He got a new job with a competitor. And what he did was to go into his former employees or former organizations database. He took a USB and downloaded their playbook. This is their major competitor. They had something called a battleground playbook for their competitor in which they would use to overthrow their sales or compete against them. All he did was use a USB drive, downloaded the information, and took it to competitors. He was sued. There was a lot of drama, but he did what he did and it was done. What happened to my screen? Sorry, I mean, it's.
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay.
All right, guys. It may seem as though there are forces against the rest of this presentation. So, we'll just round up. Hopefully you've been able to gather a lot because a lot has been said by Chini Miriam. She has already given you like a lot of knowledge for you to take home with you. So hopefully you are following through and you can hold on to all of that. So I just want to thank you for participating in this webinar and sticking with us through the good times and the bad. We really appreciate that. We appreciate your engagement and questions that you asked and just generally showing interest in all of the things that the speakers have shared with us today. So yeah, that brings us to the end of our session, guys. So remember that you can feel free to reach out to us on any of our platforms. You have dropped our contact details in the chat box. So if you have any further questions regarding the webinar or just on Cybervergent as a whole, please feel free to reach out to us. Cybervergent is very, very open, to partnering with businesses in ensuring that they win this game of threats. Let's also remember that cybersecurity is a journey and not a destination. So let's, stay informed, stay vigilant, and have Cybervergent as your trusted partners to win this game of threats. Thank you so much, guys, for joining, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.